Alright, welcome back to some Higurashi. It has been a fat minute, as y'all will know, because it's been hella cold and I've not been able to play. Uh, so yeah, I'm actually probably gonna end up complaining about how hot I am at the moment, considering I'm still wrapped up in my blanket and got a hoodie, so and heater's still going strong. Yeah, may have to turn it down just a little bit. Hold on. But at least by a little bit. But yeah, no, it's been a while since we've seen our girls and all that stuff. So yeah, can't wait to be talking to them and all that stuff. Be nice. It'd be nice. We're also getting close to becoming affiliate. Uh, so that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Uh, so yeah. See, can I remember anything that had gone down last time? Nah. Uh, Probably not. I know we've met the coach. I think we've learned a little bit about Sataka's family past and stuff like that. Um, the mystery of Satoshi is still going strong. Don't know if he was demoned away, if he transferred, or if he ran away. My bet is on the Onikakushi being true, the demoning away. That's where my bet's at. And because the story of uh, Hikurashi, anyways, people will just be going crazy and shit. Who knows? Maybe he went fucking crazy and just that's what, like, he did actually run away. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah. Without further ado, I say let's hop into it. I'm strangely tired today too. Has the festival happened yet already? I can't. I don't think so. I don't think so. Uh, is Hojo-san staying home today too? Furude-san, do you know anything? What the? The teacher's voice wasn't critical, but Rika-chan hung her head, unable to answer. I felt really bad for her. The teacher called Rika-chan up, and they had an exchange in hushed tones at the dais. Be a lot easier if I'm not chewing on gum. At first, Rika-chan said that Sataka's fever had grown worse, but everyone in class knew it was a lie. Because every day, Rika-chan brought Sataka's bento with her. Sataka-chan, I wonder what happened. Don't ask me. I'm the one who wants to know most of all. It was already the third day since Sataka's first absence. Ever since then, I haven't felt good. Fuck, 3 days? Okay. Until just last Sunday. Everything had been so much fun. I'd reached out to Sataka like a real older brother, and we spent that time quietly. but warm and comfortable. So why had it suddenly been flipped over? The more I thought about it, the more I thought that the world had taken a turn for the worse ever since Oishi arrived. Thinking on it now, maybe the strange apprehensions plaguing me that the night before Oishi arrived had been a sign. Oh yeah, that's another thing, right? We were kind of warned that Oishi was like a bad omen or messenger of Oyashita-sama, uh, because people he'd end up like talking to or stuff like that, they'd be the ones like afflicted by the curse or some shit, seemingly. So, and he was wanting, yeah, because he did want. He ended up wanting. He came to the school and was wondering about Satoko, and he was kind of forceful, aggressive. Then coach stopped in, took care of us and shit like that. But yeah, okay. Crowdo Oishi. Oyashita-sama's servant. Yeah, yeah, there it is. Stupid mic. There we go. Shit, that's impossible. They can't decide Satoko will be the curse victim this year just because he showed up. Just what sort of slip up had I committed to cause those fun times to end so suddenly? Yes, it was the day before Oishi appeared. Shion, Mion, and Rina had spoken of the curse surrounding Satoshi and his disappearance. And it was so sinister it gave me a bad premonition. Such a small thing was the slip up that invited Oyashiro-sama's servant. That was absurd. I kept on groaning to myself that I would never accept it. Ever. I obviously wasn't the only one suppressing my feelings. Mion and Rina were too. Everyone in the class was doing it. Rika-chan knew something about Satoko's situation, but she wouldn't tell us. Rika-chan still had a calm attitude, like a cat basking in the sun. But she was being unbelievably stubborn about this whole thing. She didn't want to tell us, and that wouldn't change no matter how many times we asked her. Everyone understood that, so nobody questioned her. If Rika-chan won't talk, then we just have to wait. And she might be able to, might not be able to, she might not be talking because it's something not worth saying. Hold up. There was no persuasive power in reassurance given with the anxious face like that. Mion was being taciturn, and just looked up at the sky with a somehow annoyed expression. I couldn't tell if she was unhappy that Rika-chan wouldn't talk about it with her own friends, or if she was concerned over Satoko's well-being. Yeah, I'm doing good, I'm doing good. I was just putting my hair up for a sec. I'd seen a sec. And what about me? My anxiety was suffocating me, day after day. If someone else were looking at me, then maybe I'd look annoyed, like Mion did. Tap tap. Someone tapped my shoulder. It was Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun. My Bado-san? Do you have a minute? Did your ball get stuck again? You guys have to get it yourself this time. Don't rely on the older kids for everything. I didn't feel like going along with them, so I was a little unsympathetic with my response. We heard a little interesting rumor. A rumor? Yeah, I just thought it might have something to do with that. A rumor? About Satoko. They hadn't said that, but it didn't seem unrelated. They didn't want to talk in the classroom, so they pulled me behind the school building, lending further credence to the thought. Huh. Let's get this real fast. The back of the school was damp and humid like always. Students didn't really come here because they wanted to. It might, however, have been the ideal location for trading rumors away from prying eyes. Tomita-kun, Okamoto-kun. These rumors, they're about why Satoko is absent, right? We don't know if it has something to do with it, though. Or maybe... What on earth happened to Satoko? Is she sick? Or could she be, like, really sick? Or, like, injured or something? No, actually, it's the opposite. I heard my grandma saying that she came to buy tofu at her shop yesterday. Oh, Tomato's family has run a tofu shop. Oh, added Okamoto. She went shopping? To buy some tofu? My voice sounds so stupefied, even I can tell. It was understandable. I was worried about what grave illness or injury she had, when the person herself had been out and about shopping for tofu. So, how was she? Did she look okay? Was she wearing a mask like she was getting better? Or was she like using crutches or did she have bandages on her? No, there wasn't really any signs of sickness or injuries on her, but I should have felt relieved that it wasn't an illness or an injury. But my anxiety wasn't going away, because Tomita-kun and Okamoto-kun's expressions weren't looking any better. Uh, she apparently came to buy one piece of soft tofu, but my grandma said it was strange. Oh, okay. Welcome back. Oh, it's because I was putting my hair up. This is probably why I was like freaking out. But yeah. Yep. Strange. Why? What's wrong with buying soft tofu? Irritated by how roundabout they were being, I had to desperately fight that irritation from creeping into my voice. Well, Hojo and Fuda, they live by themselves, and they don't have that much money, right? So they only ever buy the cheaper, firmer kind of tofu. They've never bought the soft tofu, the soft stuff. It's the most expensive thing there. Soft or hard, they're both tofu, right? Yeah, I guess. Like, are you reading a story or something like that? And it's like that. Soft or hard, they're both tofu, right? Maybe she just wanted to eat some great tofu or something. Uh, well, maybe, but I knew how transparent I sounded right then. This wasn't anything trivial. It was some kind of important clue. Not the cheap, firm tofu, but the expensive soft kind. Shopping not in the evening after school, but in the middle of the day. I couldn't figure out what those things meant. As I thought hard about it, Okamoto-kun took his turn to speak. Me next. This is just a rumor. But apparently he's back. He? Who? Who's back? Hojo's uncle. Satoko's uncle. Right. I think Coach told me about him. Their aunt and uncle had taken them in after Satoko and Satoshi lost their parents in the accident. Hojo's uncle, they skipped town last year, scared of Oyashida-sama's curse. He's really scary and violent, like a gang member. Oh. Huh. Sounds interesting. I'm guessing manga? Not manga? Is it like book? Like a series? To what? Oh, okay, okay. Wait, is that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Leo? Like, paired with the reader? Okay. Nice. Cool, cool. Well, I mean, yeah, they could put on the cliffhangers to keep you interested, so keep you reading. Everything Coach told me came back in bits and pieces. Right. The mean aunt and uncle who had tormented them all the time. I think he said that after their aunt was beaten to death by the deviant, he ran away to his lover's house in Okinomiya in fear of the curse. Oh, why would she be staying home from school and shopping for soft tofu in the middle of the day just because her uncle came back? My underclassmen clammed up and looked downwards. There must have been some big hint buried in there. Even if I didn't understand, if I told Mion or Lina about it, maybe they'd know something. Oh, my bad, you two. You were nice enough to talk about it, and I started hammering you with questions. Oh no, it's okay. Uh, now we know that she hasn't been in bed this whole time, gravely ill. That's worth something, right? That might be true, but it still won't. It still won't make the clouds over my mind fade away. Ah, my Bada-san, over there. Okamura-kun cried wildly, pointing over my shoulders behind me. Startled, I turned around, and way on the other side of the schoolyard, near the school gate, I saw his figure trudging forth. Ah, Satoko! She's back! She don't look so good, though. It's Hojo! I burst into a run faster than I could speak, so that as quickly as possible, I could see with my own eyes that she was okay. Satoko! Satoko seemed taken aback by me shouting and running over to her. Oh! Right, well, what is it, Keiichi-san? You surprised me with all the yelling and running. Stupid, enough about me. 3 days, what happened, Satoko? I was so worried. Oh, what a worrywart. It was only 3 days. You're such a worrywart, Keiichi-san. From listening to her, she seemed like the normal Satoko, but I could tell she was clearly acting strange. Oh, I am not looking forward to this story of... no thank you, no. Again, this is going to be a warning for everybody watching, listening, what have you. Shit gets pretty heavy, I guess, in this one. I mean, heavier than just kids killing each other. uh, anyways. Her smile was somehow forlorn, and her complexion was bad for some reason. Hojo, were you alright? Were you sick or something? Tobita-kun and Okamoto-kun both expressed their concerns. Just what happened anyway? 3 days! Do you know how worried I was? Oh, I do apologize. I was just giving the house a good cleaning. We haven't used it for a rather long time, so everything was covered in dust. Huh? Satoko, what are you talking about? Why would you have to stay home from school to clean the house? She didn't answer me. Instead, she passed by me and headed for the entrance. Gosh. It is nearly about lunchtime, is it not? I am just starving. It was certainly lunch break. Feels like Cinderella. Yeah. I couldn't force her to stop after she told me she wanted lunch, since she was so hungry. Well, whatever. Rick-chan's been bringing your lunch for 3 days now. You look like you can eat it today. Let's just go to the classroom and put everyone's mind at ease. You're right. I suppose I may have caused everyone to worry. Oh, it sure is tough being popular. I put a hand on Satoko's shoulder, and we ran to the classroom together. Up close, I was able to verify that Satoko looked somehow weak. All this anxiety was supposed to go away when I saw her again. That's what I had thought. But now, I actually started to have quite different fears. What the heck happened to Satoko? Everyone in the class, of course, reacted in the exact same way I did. We worried about you. I'm glad to see you. What were you doing for those 3 days? Our classmates showered her in questions. I truly do apologize for causing a fuss. As she cackled, she chowed down on the bento Rika-chan had made for her. Those in the teacher's lounge must have been informed of Satoko's arrival, because that teacher sprinted into the classroom, her breathing ragged. Hojo-san! Oh, Sensei. I'm sorry for worrying you with those 3 days. As you can see, I am as fit as a fiddle. Why, I was very worried about you. When you are done eating, come to the teacher's lounge. I have a lot to talk to you about. I must be in a good mood for... I must be in for a good scolding for those 3 days I cut class. Satoko laughed sheepishly while she scratched her head, and the rest of the class bursted out into laughter. The teacher was acting angry, but she breathed a sigh of relief at seeing Satoko healthy, and smiling as she ate her lunch with the class surrounding her. What a relief, right, Rena? Huh? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm glad she's okay. I looked at Rena and knew. She had a sense that something about Satoko was off, too. I looked to see Mion. Yeah, totally that's her name. I looked to see Mion detached from the clamor as well, with a somewhat grim expression. But Rika-chan, on the other hand, was smiling from ear to ear. She spread out the bento boxes one by one as Satoko finished them. Finally, Satoko was satisfied, and after enjoying a thorough conversation with her classmates, she remembered that she'd been called to the teacher's lounge. It's such a pain, but I think she'll be angrier if I don't go. I'll go with you. Satoko rises from her seat, and Rika-chan runs over to her. I do apologize, Keiichi-san. I'll be right back after getting scolded. Right. I mean, I could go with you too. We're all comrades in getting scolded in the teacher's lounge. Ever since the Curry incident, right? That won't be necessary. Keiichi should mind the place where, Keiichi should mind the place while we're away. Rika-chan's words were gentle, but the firm rejection was clear in her eyes. The two of them exited into the hallway, walking shoulder to shoulder. After seeing them off, the class breathed a collective sigh of relief, broke apart, and went back to their usual lunch breaks banter. We, however, couldn't go back to how we usually were. Da, 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 da. Not I, not Mion, and of course, not Ardena. They stared at the classroom exit Satsuko and Rika-chan had left through, their expressions a little distant and grim. We're all friends, isn't that right? I blurted out something strange, so Mion and Ardena turned around with dubious expressions. I won't keep anything from my friends, so I'll tell you what I just heard a little while ago. I told them the stories I'd heard from Tobita-kun and Okamoto-kun earlier about the tofu shop, and how Satogo's uncle had apparently come back. All at once, without letting them speak. And that's all I know. So, if either of you knows anything, please say so. I've said everything I can. I had seen a bit. I ended my sentence firmly, and looked into Mion's and Rena's eyes in turn. Rena stared right back at me. Her eyes didn't falter. Without even opening her mouth, I could tell she wasn't hiding anything. Then, our gazes turned to Mion. It's not like I was trying to keep it a secret or anything. Mion couldn't seem to endure our silent stares, and began to talk timidly, as if she was guilty of something. It's just... Now that you've said something, Kei-chan, I guess I have to talk about it. Kei-chan, you know something. Well, I mean... I knew from the first day that Satogo's uncle had come home. That he just randomly showed up in Hiramizawa last Sunday. Why didn't you tell us that? I'm sorry! My anger shout caused Mion to flinch away, look down, and hang her head uncomfortably. Keiichi-kun, it's nothing to get angry about. You're scaring Michan. Huh? Oh. Sorry I shouted at you. I lowered my head in an apology. Mion accepted it, collecting herself, and continued. According to her, her uncle's relationship with his lover, whom he had been with in Okonomiya, had collapsed. Without anywhere to go, he went back home to Hinamizawa. And on that Sunday, the day of the barbecue, her uncle ran into Satoko and brought her back to the house. Why? Why did he bring her with him? Because because he's a good-for-nothing parasite. He can't even cook after her by himself, much less do any cleaning. But that's he brought Satoko-chan back to have her cook and clean? I remember that she said that she had been cleaning the house when I met her back at the school gate. A moment later, the pieces fell into place, into the jigsaw puzzle of unease. As for what the puzzle depicted, when I saw it from afar, I could see the answer clearly. Satoko was locked up at home, and tormented into doing housework. Those are the rumors. If you knew that, why didn't you speak up? I nearly yelled that at Mion, but hastily stopped myself. Michan, is that true? I haven't seen it myself, so I don't know if it is true or not. Mion looked down again, and staring at the floor grew quiet. Yep, Cinderella. Got the child abuse, got the house cleaning, doing the chores and shit. Fucking. Hate it. Hate it. Fucking. We gotta protect the lolly, okay? We gotta protect him. Just like last year? Like when they lived with their mean uncle and his wife? But this uncle is completely helpless when it comes to housework, right? If Satsuko is that important, then there wouldn't be any reason to torment her, would there? Keiichi-kun, I don't know what grounds you have for saying that, but you shouldn't be so irresponsible. Then they clearly and directly got mad at me. You don't know much about this, so don't talk as though you do. That's what she clearly meant. Fine, then do you know something, Udina? I don't know anything either. I didn't know her uncle had taken her to the house until hearing it just now. But the situation is different from a year ago. The situation is different. What does that mean? Satoshi-kun isn't here. Satoshi really cared about his little sister. He always stuck up for her. He was her shield, and so that would be so that she would be affected just a little bit less by their aunt and uncle's fighting. The mean uncle and Satoko-chan are the only ones living there now. Can't you imagine just how stifling that must be, Keiichi-kun? He only even came back because he broke up with the woman he was staying with. Do you think a person who came back for such an unpleasant reason would be able to treat Satoko kindly? She was right. It wasn't easy for me to imagine Satoko not being tormented. Sorry. Oh, no, I'm sorry too. I sounded like I was interrogating you, didn't I? An awkward atmosphere floated among us. The three of us remained silent and just stared at the floor. Yes, yes. Beat him to a bloody pulp. But do it slow. Let him suffer. Let him suffer. Show him the true might of the Onikafuchi village. I'm gonna need to go grab a Pepsi here pretty soon. Finally, we heard the principal's bell ring. The teacher came back with Satoko and Rika-chan at the other side. See, one way I could do it. Chop off his dick, shove it down his throat, and have him choke on it to death. Well, see, here's the problem with it, because you know how small objects are choking hazards? That's why. So I don't know if you could cut it into any smaller bits. The teacher came back with Satoko and Rika-chan at his side. Alright, we're starting afternoon classes. Class president, please. Everybody stand up. Probably. Could also, like, let's see. Because I am actually a fan of, like, the nailing through the fingers. But what my idea would have been was, like, rip off the fingernails, and then what you do there is you soak screws with lemon juice, and then you just screw them through the tips of the fingers, right? That will cause immense pain. Then what you can do is also get knives, slice their body all over, small shallow cuts, and then just dump like orange juice or lemon juice and salt water and stuff like that all over it, right? And you just keep them bathed in it. And then also, you just start like slowly just chopping them up. Just slowly. And then, yeah, like start off with, say, chopping off the toes. Chop off the tips of the toes, and then you work your way up the foot. All right, right? And then you just chop off more and more, working your way up the leg. Each time you got to make sure that they don't bleed out, right? Oh, so you gotta like spice it up. Gotta do different shit, right? So what you can do is say after you get through like say half the leg or something like that, like so probably like the kneecaps and stuff like that. Start like putting shit like in there, like just stabbing shit into the leg and all that stuff, or just like slicing them up more and more, and then just having fun. And then you can work on uh, once you get rid of like the arms and legs, then you start working on like the gut and stuff like that. You slice it open, and then just start pulling shit out, right? And then here's also the cool part too. Before like you get all that stuff, this is gonna be a long process, right? And how you keep them alive through all this is what you feed them is the chopped up bits of their leg or whatever else you chop off. That's their sustenance. That's what you feed them over the long period you're going to have them. We got a hand and I got to take notes. What? What you mean by that? Wait. Yeah. That's my idea at least. Oh, got to hang. I got okay, okay. Yeah. All right. It involves me leaving my room, but yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. How rude of me. I couldn't read anything from Sataka's vague, sheepish expression, but given the clouded look over Riki-chan was wearing behind him. Shit, now I've got so excited, like thinking of shit I could do. Oh, be so much fun. Be so much fun. Oh, now I'm just thinking of like things you could do as well as like what you could do is like with the chest, like drill a little small hole in there, and then just put like insects in it, like maggots and stuff, and then like they'd start being eaten by the inside out. Or what you can do is get like a glass bucket or something like that of like mice or rats or something like that, and just put it up against their back, and it's like they're starved, and like keep it there until like the rats have to get out some way, right? And so they eat through the person. Oh. And then you could also put like insects and stuff into their ears and then just like into their brain and just start eating away at it. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, and then also you get like what could you do? Probably like a spoon or something like that and just like scoop out their eyes like later on. Oh. Oh, I'm getting too excited. I'm honestly getting excited about like ideas of like shit like this. Well, see, that's the point. People don't like it, right? But it's supposed to be torture, so it's just like, yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, and then let's see, what else could we put? Uh, I don't know. Yeah, fair enough. I do it my own way. I got my own twisted sort of sense. But yeah. Shit. Watch just like fucking, because I'm speaking all this shit, people are like, call the cops on her, call the cops on her, shit like that, put it on the FBI watch list. Oh, damn. See, I'm okay with spiders. Like, I only got issues with spiders if they're in my bedroom. That's it. Like, anywhere, like, literally, if I go outside my bedroom, if I, like, there's a spider directly outside my bedroom, I'm like, hey, what's up? Chilling. Right? And I'm like, yeah. But if it's inside my bedroom, it's like, nope. I can't deal. I shut down and stop functioning. But, yeah. But essentially, anywhere outside my room, I'm perfectly fine. It's kind of weird, but yeah, yeah. Anyways, sorry for the side tangent of me getting excited about all that shit. Let's get back to the story. But given the clouded look Rurika-chan was wearing behind her, it was tough to laugh off the disquieting story I'd heard from Mion. I don't know. Never heard that word before. Ah, fair enough, fair enough. Fair enough. Alright. First time in a while everyone's been here. Let's all have a roaring good time with the whole club. Yeah, perfect. Indeed, in times like these, the best thing to do is obviously get rowdy and scheme against one another in the club activity. Just what I was waiting for. Hey, Sataka-chan, let's play. There was that game you liked, wasn't there? What was it again? It doesn't matter which. Tell me. Tell me! Young laughed happily, took a bunch of games out of the club locker, and lined them up on the desks. I think that was the first time Mion's ever let someone else decide on the game for her. I could tell she was being especially considerate to Satoko, thinking that, whatever her circumstances, if we could just enjoy our time together as a group, that might be some comfort, some diversion. Satoko seemed to understand her feelings too, and smiled vaguely, though pleased. But her head slowly moved from side to side. I'm very grateful, but your feelings are enough. There are many things I needed to do, so... Even Rika-chan hung her head in remorse. Hey, whoa, 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 seriously? All the club members are here for once, and we're not playing anything? Desertion, or... Desertion in the face of the enemy. What was the punishment game for it? What part of the club constitution was that in? Stop it, Michan. Oh, we can't force her to play with us. Hey, this old man isn't trying to force her or anything. I just thought it'd be more fun for sure if we did something exciting. Really, I am happy you all feel that. Don't worry. Next time we meet, you'll see. I'll get you all caught in a gigantic trap. Satoko, while insulting us, still said she couldn't participate in the club today and apologized. She quickly put her things into her bag and paddled out into the hallway, disappearing. It all happened in the blink of an eye. Satoko. Rika-chan stared lonesomely, as her friend hurried home, unable to be part of the club activity. Silence filled the classroom. Both the cheerful voices of our classmates in the schoolyard and the voices of the cicadas sounded like they were coming from scenes far away. Pfft. This is boring. The silence was broken by Mion's bitterness, and she began putting the games on the desk back into the locker. Everyone just stared absently at Satoka's seat, now empty. Rika-chan, Maybe you could tell us about it now? Lena made Lena made as gentle a smile as she could possibly, fuck. Lena made a gentle, or Lena made as gentle a smile as she possibly could and spoke softly to Rika-chan. Even without hearing it from her, we pretty much knew the situation at this point. Satoka's uncle had broken up with his lover and came back home to Hinamizawa, and he had taken Satoko back home and forced her to do all the household work. And all that had to be pretty rough on her. Thinking this was common knowledge to everyone, I skipped to the important part. Is it really bad? Maybe Mion and Rina wanted to ask the same question. Nobody spoke. We all just stared, waiting for Rika-chan's reply. She still didn't answer us. We were hoping for her to say no, but her silence was a bad enough sign. Last year, was it? It was like this when both her uncle and his wife were here, right? Yeah. At the time, they were mostly just being caught between their aunt and uncle fighting. One of the ways we helped out was with the club, by reducing their time at home as much as we could, but he's making her do the chores now, so she can't stay at school either. Shit. Satoka's not a slave. Why do you think you are ignoring your own inability to live properly and basically putting Satoko under the house arrest? When you think about it, isn't this really strange? We'd need a lot of circumstantial evidence, but isn't this abuse? Can't we notify the police or something? You're right. If we had evidence she was being abused, I think we could tell the police. Yes, there is. They just need evidence. And can't we talk to the region's welfare people about this? Ben and I kept saying police, police, as though it were nothing, but Mion's response sounded like she thought we were a little naive. It's easy for you to say that. Have you thought about the risk of actually getting proof? What do you mean, risks? I think it was 2 winters ago. We reported it to the Child Consultation Center. We told them there was abuse happening and to do something right away. You did? What happened? A person came as soon as we called. She interviewed Satoko and Satoshi about what was going on. And then their uncle and his wife, too. I can understand asking Satoko and Satoshi, but would it be not so good to talk to the aunt and uncle? They said that they'd based their judgment on what they heard from both sides. Great of them, wasn't it? So, what did they decide to do? Wait and see. What? What do you mean, wait and see? The uncle really studied up on this stuff. By law, you can't call it abuse unless someone admits to assault or child neglect. They poked and prodded Satoko and Satoshi a lot, but it never left any real marks on them. They were pretty much eating 3 meals a day, and had beds. There weren't any recordings or something like that to prove they'd said or done anything to cause them psychological trauma. None of the villagers had ever actually seen them being violent either. No matter how mean you are, you wouldn't act so violent in front of other people. Nobody would. And this is the annoying part, is the fact that even when they did contact the authorities, nothing happened. They wormed their way out of it. It's weird having to turn down fucking heater when literally like 2 days ago I was freezing my ass off in here. Time to contact. But this shit fucking pisses me off. Like, just this shit in general. Like, this topic just pisses me off about people. It's like, why? Why the fuck? Like, I get it in the fact that, like, you're so insecure for, like, the power dynamic and all this shit, but it's like, motherfucker, what the fuck? Just fucking die right away while living. Ugh. That's why when I fantasize about what I do to fucking, say, Satoko's uncle, I get all excited about, you know, them getting to deal with that pain for themselves. And trying to prolong it as long as possible. And make it as hellish as possible. So that way, they get a taste of what it's fucking like. Ugh. So I got a friend that deals with this stuff kind of like this. Yeah, I've got a friend that deals with something similar to this, and it's just pisses me off, but it's like there's nothing I can do. It's like they're on the opposite side of the country, and it's just like, ugh, it's just infuriating. You know, hope that they can get out and all this stuff and be happy and shit, and it's just, I just want to fucking, ugh, have fun with the motherfucker that causes it. But fucking hate it. Fucking hate it. Oh, okay. Calm down, calm down. It's okay. It's fictional. It's just about 2D girls. It's fictional. No need to get offended. Oh, it's just... Ugh. Okay. Hell yeah. That sounds like fun. Yeah. Sadly, we don't have something like that in IRL. So, we have to prolong them to live so they can be tortured even more. But, anyways. Then, what happened? The welfare officer apparently went to visit on the same day each week for a while. The aunt and uncle knew they were being watched, though, and didn't torment them in any way that would stand out. Of course, that wasn't the end of it. You mean they ramped up how malicious they were being? Mion sighed and nodded. Their aunt was really damn stubborn. She's one of the most spiteful people I've ever known. Apparently, she was doing some pretty disgusting things. Satoko was like a doll that did nothing but breathe by the end of it. So what? From that conclusion, does that mean they never should have contacted child welfare in the first place? Understand? Without proof of abuse so clear anyone could see it, there's nothing we can do. In fact, it might even make the situation worse. We messed up pretty bad. After hearing that even public organizations, the one thing they thought was dependable, couldn't do anything, everyone hung their heads. In other words, we have to wait, until we have clear evidence of abuse, we shouldn't notify anyone? Well, I mean, basically, yeah. I considered Satoko's current situation. She was brought back to her house. It was a little difficult to call that abuse. She was being tormented and forced to do the chores. How she was being tormented would be the key, but without concrete evidence, it would be difficult to prove. Yeah, you could, but that'd be tricky. Because think of it like this. Like, that'd be very risky. Say, sneak into the house, set up like cameras or recording devices. Because from the sound of it, sounds like the motherfucker don't leave his house, right? Backpack maybe? For all we know, he like, as he said, like, seems like he's kind of careful of like shit like this. So it's like, for all we know, he could be doing a fucking search down every time she comes home or something like that. Or like when she goes to sleep, like searches through her shit or some shit like that. Or limits like what she can have, or there's all sorts of shit people like this can do to like make sure it's not found out properly. So it'd be very difficult. Like what you could probably like your best bet would either be trying to lure him out of the house some way somehow and then setting something up, calling some uh or going in like the dead of night when they're all should be asleep, like study them for a little bit and just like learn their sleep patterns and stuff like that, and then go when it'd be like in the middle, like when they're in deep sleep, and then you can set stuff up. But even then, you'd still have to be careful because if you wake them up, game over. If and then you also have to like think about you to be able to get the stuff back as well, to like make sure you actually caught anything. You would have to do the exact same thing again. Yeah, well, you can't be Lotus, can you, when you're human? So, there's only so much you can do. So, unless, like, and that's, like, probably the best couple of ways I can think of. But it's also, it's like, unless miraculously someone fucking confesses to it, or the uncle becomes stupid enough to do something out in public, then, yeah. Or does something where it's, like, obvious. Fucking hell. I mean, I'm a witch. Anyways. Welcome back. She had she was being tormented and forced to do the chores. How she was being tormented would be the key. Without any concrete evidence, it would be difficult to prove. If she had some kind of external injury, that would work. But as far as we could tell from today, she had nothing like that. Alright, see you in a sec. And being forced to do the chores, that was a bit weak too. There had to be better evidence that she was without a doubt being abused. Ah, I know. Her uncle had ignored Satoko's existence for a whole year, and went to live with his lover in town. Didn't that fall under one of the definitions of abuse that Mion had mentioned? Child neglect? Yeah, it's a perfect case of child neglect. What about that, Michan? Um, hmm. If her uncle weren't here now, it could be recognized as child neglect. But he's living with her at the moment, isn't he? They were apart before, But if he'd said something like, he had a change of heart and decided to live with her, they might just wait and see again. Once we were reported it, we needed to be absolutely sure they'd interpret it as abuse. Maybe we needed far more concrete evidence, lest we repeat last year's mistake. Well, it's sad. This means we need to sit quietly and wait for him to be violent towards Sataka-chan and leave a mark, don't we? The only plan I could think of, in the end, was just watching and waiting. It left me in shock when I realized that it would be the same policy as that of the officials, who had made the situation worse. As Mion said, reporting it to a public agency would be a gamble. If we're going to pick a fight, it would have to be one we couldn't afford to lose. If we're gambling without enough money, without enough evidence, our defeat would be assured. If we took the time to amass enough money that we could be sure of victory, then that would mean pretending we didn't see Satoko's plight for a considerable amount of time. Sorry for bringing this up now, but how is Rika-chan able to live by herself? Rika-chan had lost her parents, if I recalled correctly. From what I'd heard, she had no relatives either. She was forced to live on her own as a result, but her life was unfettered, free of restriction. If she could somehow grant that freedom to Sataka too. I mean, Rika-chan, you're living without any parents, right? Don't kids with no guardians have to go to an orphanage and stuff? Keiichi-kun, that's cruel. I'm not saying it to be mean. I only asked because I thought there would be a hint to saving Satoko. Rika-chan, sorry if I offended you. Rika-chan shook her head, not particularly disturbed. Well, you see, it's because I'm considered the mayor's daughter. Let me explain. The mayor, Old Man Kimiyoshi, is Rika-chan's guardian. He got official permission from the government of the prefecture. Huh. So, you're adopted? No, not adopted. You could be someone's guardian without being in the same family. Huh. Oh, I get it. Rika-chan lives by herself, but by law she's considered to live with the mayor, right? Yeah, basically. That's how Rika-chan avoids being sent to an orphanage. Actually, it would be child and family services, not an orphanage. Me, I don't understand the hard things, but anyway, she's right. Interesting you should say that, Mion. You could be someone's guardian even if they're in another family. Then shouldn't we have the mayor or someone else become Satoko's guardian, if only on paper? Then she'd be in the same position as Rika-chan, and she could go back to her old life. Too bad it won't work. I mean, her uncle is supposedly her guardian. Wait a minute. You lost me there. What's a guardian exactly anyway? In legal terms, a guardian and a parent weren't necessarily synonyms. So whoever was actually looking after her at home would be considered her guardian. Then her uncle isn't her guardian. He left Satoko by herself for so long. But if he insists he's her guardian, then that's it. It's been a few days since Satoko was taken back to her house. Her uncle's been paying for her meals since then, right? He is sort of looking after her, so he'd probably insist. And even though he abandoned her for a year, he'd already looked after her for the whole year before that. But the mayor doesn't have that kind of history. So then, if both the mean uncle and the mayor requested guardianship at the same time, The uncle would make more sense. No, but he'd have a better chance. The term guardian refers to the person actually caring for her, right? The uncle actually has a bed and food for her, but the mayor would just have his name. It wouldn't even be a contest. Then shouldn't the mayor just start caring for her for real? He'd be her guardian in name and reality if he did. We just need to shelter Satoko. That might lead her uncle to being desperate to take her back, and we'll stubbornly refuse him. It won't be that easy. Satoko's a grown girl, you know? It's not like giving someone a cat. You're asking him to take care for a real person. Then Coach. What about Coach? Coach, I don't know, he's got a lot of money, right? He even said it himself. Even if he's not her real father, Coach could become her guardian. Coach would be a great at taking care of her. Stop that! Stop thinking of Satoko like a pet! All you're doing is talking about pushing her onto someone else. You need to think more seriously about how much responsibility it is to take care of another human being. Did you ask him? Did you get an actual promise from him that he'd take Satoko under his care? No, I didn't. But Coach definitely would say yes. Huh. Well, fine. Even considering the zero probability of Coach saying it was okay, then what? It still wouldn't work. See ya. Have a good day. He couldn't become a guardian all by himself. Ugh. That's right. Coach, didn't he say it himself? He was alone, so he couldn't do it. Shit, what the hell? Why is being single such a disadvantage in this society? Then, all you can do is marry into a wealthy family, couldn't you? Is there anyone that wealthy in Hinamizawa? I'm not sure. See? It's not simple. It's hard to adopt someone. And you can't go into it thinking you'll push Satoko onto someone else just for a little while. You're being naive, Kei-chan. Shit, damn it. What the hell? I'm desperately thinking of how to save Satoko, and all you're saying is no, no! Don't you care about Satoko at all? Are you even worried about our friend one bit? What do you have to say for yourself? I didn't mean that. But it just won't be that easy, and it's not that difficult a problem. We just need to have some rich people look after Satoko for a while, that's all. Right. What about your family, Mion? You always brag about great it is being one of the 3 families or whatever, don't you? From what you've said, you must live in a gigantic house. My house? No, that won't happen. But my grandma would never allow it. Then what about your relatives in Okonomiya? From what I've heard, they're living in luxury themselves. There's plenty of shops your relatives manage in town, too. Your families are basically millionaires, aren't they? No, that won't work. Going to Okonomiya is even more out of the question. My father, he never let it happen. Ever. Hey. Normally you act like some high and mighty bigwig, but now you're being all spineless? What the hell? Are you just trying to sit by and watch Satoko suffer? No, I don't, but I mean, I want to help her as much as you. But that's different. A different story. How is it a different story? How can you be so cold-hearted? Your friend is in trouble, goddammit. What are you gonna do if you don't rescue her? You're our president. Our club president. Save her, goddammit. Save her from this fucking crisis. If you don't save her right now, you're not our friend. Not even a human. I don't know if you have any humanity left in you. Are you listening to me, Mion? My emotions all exploded out of me. I didn't even give her a chance to say anything in response. I just wanted to make Mion agree with me, even if I had to force her. If she did, Sataka's problem would be solved. If pushing her would solve the issue, and I'd push her as much as I needed to. Why aren't you saying anything anymore? I'm asking you, asshole! Well, say something, Mion Sonozaki! Me? Mion looked down with a grim face. Began sobbing. Her hands were clenched into trembling fists, and she rubbed her eyes to wipe away the tears. Was what I said actually that mean? This isn't the time to cry. We're in the gambling room now. We have to do something to save Satoko. And as I thought that, Rina spoke, her voice cold and incredibly calm. Keiichi-kun, if Michan's family won't work, then what if we look for another wealthy family? I know someone in Hinamizawa who lives in a nice big house. Who's that? Oh, come on. You've got a splendid family, and you're leaving it out of things? My family? My family is... Your friends, right? Savor Keiichi-kun. Michan is cold-hearted after all. Since you are so considerate towards friends, you should lead by example. Just the three of you are living in that huge house, right? Then you've probably got plenty of spare rooms. You should just give a few of the empty ones to Satoko-chan. And then her worries and all would be over. What's this? We're done already? That's pretty quick. Okay, great. Congratulations on solving the problem. Then are we done for today? I'm going home. Hooray, hooray. Maybe I'll go treasure hunting. I haven't done that in a while. I was so worried about Satoko-chan up until now that I didn't feel like going to play at all. I wonder what I'll find today. Huh. Say something, will you? Why am I the only one talking? Say something, you bastard! Are you listening, Keiichi Maebara? Even the cicadas seemed to cower in fear. Rina, her shoulders bobbing up and down, and me, who had forgotten to breathe. Mion, whose face had gone completely pale, and Rika-chan, who was keeping silent as if nothing had happened. The atmosphere in the classroom grew tight and stiff, and it petrified us where we stood. Oh. The sound of the chair as Rina sat back down after having stood up finally allowed everyone present to take a breath. Rina had shown me just how much I'd hurt Mion. Rina's scary. After a few moments, Rika-chan cut into the frozen air. Yeah, I'm sorry, Rika-chan. Michan, I'm sorry to you too. I don't have to apologize to you, do I, Keiichi-kun? Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being so unreasonable. Were you saying all that to me before? You said it while glaring at Michan, so I totally thought you were talking to her. Rina had such strength that you wouldn't have imagined it normally. All I did was spout terrible things as a wave of violent fury passed over me. I couldn't contend with her. Mion, I'm sorry. I lost my cool. Come to think of it, I didn't understand what had gotten me that riled up. I thought of myself as Satoka's Nini, so I only had good intentions. But I'd think about it, a little harder than everyone else, and yet, um, mm, it's okay. You were worrying with everything you had, but all I was saying was that nothing would work. So, I'm sorry. I, I said something wrong too. Mion rubbed away the tears at the corner of her eyes with her fists and apologized as well. We bowed our heads to each other and looked down, without glancing at each other. Someone I didn't know who heaved a sigh. Satoko being tormented had been known about since last year. How had the tragedy looked back then? Or how had the tragedy back then saved Satoko? How had they brought it back to the how had they brought it to an end? Right. In the end, nobody could do anything. All they could do was bear it patiently and wait for those agonizing days to end. That's right. The one who brought an end to those terrible days. Some crazy drug addict nobody knew. On the night of Watanagashi last year, their mean aunt had been beaten to death. But it hadn't been done to save Satoko or Satoshi. Right. It really was just a coincidence. Satoko's friends, who needed to do something for her most of all, couldn't do anything. The incident may have been a tragic one, but from Satoko's viewpoint, it was nothing less than a miracle. Yes, a miracle. A miracle one could only wait for. Is waiting all we can do? Not for evidence of abuse, not for something that minor. Huh? Wait, for what? A miracle. No one made fun of me for using such a crazy word. We couldn't come up with any solutions, so it was the only thing we could do. We are powerless. The one word Mion dropped was the finishing blow. It was hot. My body was sticky with sweat. The worst month, June. Okay, I'm probably going to end it here for two reasons. One, I'm fucking hungry. And two, I am starving. I haven't eaten today. So, I am like starving out of my mind and I don't have any snacks here, so I'm gonna have to go get food. But, so yeah. Sorry to cut it short. I will hopefully get back in the swing of like how my schedule used to be. But, yeah, just once I fall off the horse, it's really hard to get back on. So, I hope y'all stick with me and be patient. And yeah, thank you for hanging out. And yeah, we'll continue this tomorrow, I hope. I finally got a job again, so that'll be starting up sometime soon as well. Hopefully that'll help me out a lot, relieve some of the stress of not having a job anymore. So yeah, I can focus